Everyone's talking mobile termination rates in your space, so let's kick off there and how that ultimately is going to impact your business.
Yeah, for the half year, our profits were down and revenue slightly down. But if you look at it on a like-for-like basis, there was 35 million rand of connection incentive bonuses, which would have come from the activation of SIM cards for least cost routing that we didn't activate. Because with the drop in interconnect rates, we knew this was going to happen. So we're starting with a process of converting our voice traffic, our fixed to mobile voice traffic, off least cost routing onto our Crystal Vox network. And this is something we anticipated.
So short term, you're going to take pain on the revenue side.
Yeah,
is that right?
In the short to medium term, we're going to take some pain and we'll have some impact on profits. But as we convert the majority of a customer's traffic, not just fixed to mobile, but local, national, international, and inbound traffic, we'll get much better margins in the long term. But it takes about 18 to 24 months for us to convert 7,500 corporate LCR customers.
You've been very inwardly focused over the last 12 months. Is that going to continue from here? Is there more room for cost cutting? You certainly haven't been looking to making external acquisitions or anything of the like.
Yeah, we haven't done any acquisitions for about 24 months, absolutely been internally focused. We've really been focused on getting our corporate voice solution, which is really 4 years of hard work in the making, to the market, because we anticipated interconnection changing. What has been great is that they've also addressed fixed termination rates, which was quite a surprise. It should have quite a big impact on Telkom, but it's also great for us because we can offer much cheaper outbound rates, particularly for local and national calls. So we're quite pleased about that impact on our total voice business. So we've also been launching brand new products for video conferencing into the market, line bonding technologies, etc. So our focus has been product driven at the moment.
Number portability comes into operation on Monday. Is that a big positive for you and your corporate clients?
Absolutely, and in fact I think it's a big positive for the South African market, more so than the drop in interconnection. I mean, finally I can go to a major corporate and say, I'll move 500 of your phone numbers onto Vox Telecom, I'll save you 20% off your Telkom phone bill. Now up to now, most corporates have said, you know, that's great Vox, but we don't want to change our phone numbers. So we believe that's a huge game changer, particularly for us because we address the corporate market.
But how much admin, Tony, is there in changing your number ultimately? I mean, is this going to be another RECA situation where you're up to your ears in paperwork?
Well, you know, I don't know if you ported a mobile phone number. There's a bit of admin. And on the corporate side, it's a bit different. We'll take care of that for our customers. And there's a company called the Number Portability Company, which actually administers the porting of mobile and fixed numbers. And we have a process that's been agreed with them, and we execute that process on behalf of our customers. So we'll try and make it as seamless as possible, and it's our job to make that work.
Ashraf, 37 cents on this. We're up 2 3/4% today. Mm-hmm. What do you make of the investment case behind Vox?
Well, we all know why Vox fell into a heap a while back because of the single stock future trades. Still quite a good company, but the one thing I want to ask Tony is in terms of connections and drop calls that you've experienced on the networks that your clients use, do you think it's above average or pretty average at this point?
On which networks are you referring to?
I'm talking about, and we're one of your customers, so I'm aware of what the experience has been. But I mean, do you generally find that your systems work better than most, or do you find that your drop call rates are pretty much in line with the industry?
You know, I don't know if I mean, Vodacom and MTN, their drop call rates are extraordinarily high. I think we all know that, and there's a bunch of reasons why. I think our mean opinion scores on a network, which is the international measure of voice quality, is very good, typically in excess of 4. I mean, the best voice quality is Telkom's voice network, their fixed network. It actually is excellent. You have to give them credit for that. I think when you're using other technologies and voice over IP, you'll never match that particular quality, but it's extremely good. And I think for the saving that you get, the quality is superb. I think 3 or 4 years ago, VoIP got a bad name and there were a lot of issues. I think we've largely overcome that. I mean, we're running over 700 million minutes in the last six months through our network. And we've invested massively. We've just upgraded all to Juniper. You know, we do that on a demand basis. So we have very happy clients. Our churn rate, which gives you a very good measure, on average is 1.5% per annum across the entire business, which is amongst the lowest in the industry.
Royce, do you have any comments on Vox or any questions for Tony?
Well, I think looking at the telecommunications sector, one must sort of take a step back. And there are two forces at play. One, the regulatory force, which we've seen through the interconnect rate, which is coming down. But more importantly is the fact that large cell phone companies have got ex-growth in South Africa. You've seen their margins compress, particularly MTN. They've come under quite severe margin pressure in South Africa. Vodacom have kept their margins. But as you saw in the Vodacom trading update today, the South African portion is not growing that strongly. So going forward, the rules that existed in the past might not exist going forward. And the incentives that the network operators gave might have to be withdrawn in order to compensate for lower interconnect fees. So we're just a bit cautious that the whole telecommunication space could undergo quite radical change going forward. And at this stage, it's quite hard for us to see who are going to be the winners and who are going to be the losers in that space. So, but we do know it's going to change, and it might not be changing better from a corporate perspective, but maybe from a consumer perspective.
Just to pause in there for a moment, Vodacom put out that trading statement, as you said, and they're expecting their shares to rise as much as 25%. That's after the BE transaction impacted the prior period.
The base is low.
So at 55 Rand, I think that's where I saw Vodacom trading. Are you staying away because of the ex-growth debate?
I think the ex-growth debate is going to continue to play out in the numbers, both locally for MTN and Vodacom in the South African space. So the investment case for Vodacom would therefore be on valuation as opposed to earnings growth. And there is some merit. It's a high dividend play, looking to go higher. It's a stable business, and the PE is not that demanding in relation to the market. So there's a valuation argument for Vodacom. But certainly from an earnings growth going forward, it's not going to be greater than the market. It's going to lag the market.
And Tony, let's look at this competitive environment, because we know the debate, the ex-growth in the telecommunications arena. So how does that translate for a smaller player in your space?
Well, I think I'm glad I'm not a mobile operator, because I mean that's a pretty saturated market. You have 102% SIM card penetration, 72% by actual human population. But we've just had the whole fixed line voice market of telecom open up to us with local number portability. So from our side, we can now go after markets that previously we couldn't do it in any meaningful way. So although it is guerrilla warfare, and it's tough and it's competitive and pricing is a major issue and everyone wants a good deal. I mean,
who do you keep bashing heads with? Is it the incumbent?
Yeah, it's the incumbent, definitely. I mean, if you're trying to get the major portion of voice traffic, you're up against telecom primarily.
But there's still hope for you as a player in this space with your corporate clients. You've got exposure to how many?
We've got 16,000 corporate clients, and you know we've been around for 13 years, and so we know what it's like to compete. And keep in mind that this whole market hasn't been open to competition for that time, so it's actually getting better for us. So I'd like to believe we can compete quite well as we really liberalise this market.